Hello. Hi.
Hello.
So here's a
Simon.
question for you. Why did you choose to have a doula?
Well, I feel like as most mothers, I was very nervous about the whole birthing process. And I guess there's so much on the internet, and I just guess I didn't know what to believe, or, there's just so much information out there. And I guess I just needed guidance, which I felt like my OB office wasn't really giving me.
Mhm.
So I really needed that personalized help. Um, so I went out and I just moved to Charlotte. So I was just searching for that help, and I came across you, Toni.
Why did you choose me? Why did you choose BirthWise?
I You had a very professional website. It was very easy to understand, which was important. I like the content and what you and the services I felt like you had listed that you provided. And then, of course, you don't know until you meet the person, because websites can be deceiving too.
Hmm.
Sometimes a very professional website can be just a professional website, right? But when I guess, spoke to you on Zoom, I felt really comfortable. All the information that you gave me up front was a lot of information, but I felt like, oh, you made me feel, I guess, more comfortable about being pregnant and more comfortable about, um, I guess, giving birth. There's a calmness to you that I felt like was priceless, and that's important. And that I found out later on that that's a very important piece or quality there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't know until we start using it. But
What?
you don't
Sorry.
know what you don't know about the process until you're
Yeah.
in it, right?
Right. Right.
You don't, you're pregnant, and then you give birth, and then postpartum.
Right.
You're like,
Yeah.
there are just little nuances that you didn't necessarily know that you needed until you have that person that's there to help.
Right.
So here's an interesting question. Did you talk to other doulas besides me?
I did. And they're all different types of doulas, just like different types of personalities. I heard about a doula from my neighbor that had just given birth, I think like 6 months prior to me. And she said, "Oh, she used a doula." And I had no idea what a doula was. I had no idea what a midwife was. Like, there are a lot of buzzwords and stuff. So I was just like, I'm gonna have to go with my gut, right? Just like in life, there's just so many options. I'm really glad I went with you, but it's just getting me there was also another process, like deciding, committing. It's like, oh, I thought it was a lot of money. And then, at the end of the day, you realize, oh, that's not a lot of money like you think it is. But, the commitment was a thing, and I wish I'd committed sooner. I wish but I mean, you don't know until you go through it.
Yeah, listen, trust me. None of
Yeah.
us ever know anything, and each child is different. So whatever you think you know with the first, learn something new. If you have
Right.
another and another. So it
Right.
always changes. Here's a question that everybody really wants to know. They want to know your birth story. So
Yeah.
will you tell us your birth story?
Yeah. Where do we start? I mean, I
Well,
start from the day when I went into labor, or I
start
mean,
from the day.
yeah. So on the day, I downloaded this, like what is it? The contraction app. So, and I didn't even know what contraction was. I know I kept asking you. I was like, and and I asked my OB, of course, they're like, you'll know when you know. And I'm like, wait, that's not helpful. Like, wait, how do you know? So and I read about it, but I'm like, is what I'm feeling on the day-to-day a contraction? Is the kicking part of that? I mean, I was not educated enough. So whenever I thought I was having a contraction, I would use the app and like time the contractions, right? So then that made it a little bit easier. That way I didn't have to stare at the clock and things like that. So when I felt like it was occurring, I messaged you, right? And you were like, well, all right, when it gets intense and when I think it's every 5 minutes for a minute.
The 511.
Yeah. So,
but when you first called me, do you remember what I said? When you first called me, you called me. And you're like, I think I'm having contractions, and I said, go to lunch.
Go to lunch, yeah. Go to lunch. Go get a meal, and we went and had we call it our last supper. Like as a single parent, or not single parent, but
as a couple.
As a couple without kids. So yeah. So we went to eat, and while we're eating, the contractions started getting more intense, and I'm tracking this, and I remember the waitress saying, "Oh, how far along are you?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm done." So I told her, we're going into labor right now, actually. She's like, oh, whoa, let me give you your check. So I text you saying, all right, I think we're ready. And you met me at home, and, you brought, I don't know, one of those devices that.
The TENS unit?
Yes. It kind of like, I don't know, sends currents up and down your spine. And I remember seeing that, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. All these little things that you don't know about that can help you in the process. You had those things. You brought the ball that was my size, because I guess the ball I had was too big for me. So you ordered a ball, because I think some of the there he is. Some of the other balls you had were too big for me, I guess. So I remember I'm helping you blow up the ball, and I'm like going through labor. You're like, you're going through labor. Why are you bending down? And I'm like, oh, I forgot. I am going through labor. So it was fun. Early labor was fun. And then the contractions got more and more intense, and you're like, you're gonna go through discomfort. And I'm like, oh boy, I thought it was gonna be easy. And then as the night or the day progressed, it got harder and harder. And you told me to take a bath, got in the bath, and I remember just being in pain, laying there. But the bath really helped with soothing, calming, so that really helped with the pain. And then I remember the contraption you gave for, what is it called? The stickers that you gave me?
Oh, the TENS unit.
TENS unit. That really helped with the pain. So thank you for that. Yeah. So what else? Just trying to remember all of it. I remember you were like, you're not ready to go to the hospital yet, because my water didn't break. I don't think the plug passed through yet. So, you advised us not to go in too early. And then by the time I was in enough pain, and it was late at night, I don't know how many hours into it, I think it was like 9 p.m. when we decided to go to the hospital. And when we got there, I guess they checked to see how dilated I was. I wasn't even 2 inches yet, right? So you said, hey, I think, we should go home. So luckily we lived close to the hospital. So we went home and waited it out. And that's when it got even more intense, where I was vomiting, I was vomiting. And yeah, I had a bucket and it was
you
vomiting.
did get nauseous. You did get nauseous.
And I was like, Toni, go home and get dinner or whatever. You hadn't eaten yet, and it's been hours. And then you came back, and things got even more intense. And I think, I felt like I kind of blacked out a few times. And then, you're helping me do those exercises to ease the pain. I mean, I guess at that point, my fiance was getting really nervous too, like he was like trying to help me from behind, but not like trying to hold up the belly, but you can tell he was nervous, right? So you get in there and you help him position himself and, calm us down and, make us feel more relaxed. Advising me on what positions to lay in, at what point. I mean, all that, while you're going through labor, I don't know how mothers would know how to do that on their own. Like, if I didn't have you, how would I know when to go to the hospital? Or how would I know, oh, I should go home or if I should stay, right? So, there were tips there that you gave me that was priceless. We wouldn't know how the hospital operated, whether it was good, whether it was bad for us. You took the time prior to us going to labor to stop by the house. I remember, I think when I was like 36 or 37 weeks pregnant, and I think my fiance was running a marathon and we had all these people over, and I think I was what is it? Spotting, and you're like, I'm coming right over. You're like, you're gonna put yourself into labor, and you brought that massage table and stuff, and you made me lay down on the table and like made me calm down, and you did this like it was like hypnosis. You did the side thing where you tap my back or my hip, and you made me like basically like fall asleep, right? So you calmed me down, and I think that really helped me in the weeks going forward to not put me into that early labor that that situation, the bad situation we could have been in, and helped our son like develop further and not go into early labor, which would potentially be bad for a baby. So
you were a lot of high energy. You didn't like to sit still very much. You were stressed.
Yeah, I was stressed, and there was a lot going on. Like before having a baby, there's a bunch of check boxes. You have to get the nursery ready. You have to, do all these things to prepare while you're very pregnant and barely able to move. So it just adds on a lot of stress on the couple. So having Toni come in really relaxed us, calm us, helped us tremendously. Yeah, we really appreciated that. And during labor, there were crazy things happening, like a bunch of nurses, all these nurses coming in, talking to us and telling us what to do. And, having Toni there, like calm us and preparing us for that really helped, I remember there was this one time they added IV to my hand and they kept poking at me. And I remember Toni giving me advice, like when they poke at you and you don't want them to poke, tell them to stop. I need a moment, I need a minute. You want to take control too, because, sometimes these nurses, sometimes they're not experienced. There's a bunch of them. Sometimes they're new. And, one of the nurses I guess I had was newer, and she put the IV needle in me and she was poking around. And I mean, she was bruising me and like making me bleed. And then another nurse came to take over to find my vein. So 3 nurses came, and like I'm just being poked all over, and I have bruises all over me. I'm in pain. And Toni was like helping calm me down. She had her devices to help me and the equipment that she used to calm me, to calm the situation, to make us feel more secure. Yeah. So.
So how did your birth go? So how did your birth?
So we were in labor for what, at least 15 hours,
Yeah, you
I think.
started at 1:30 and he was born at about 8:30 in the morning.
So I don't know what point we decided, or I decided to get epidural because I was in so much pain, but I was
6 a.m.
Yeah, so that's okay, like 14, 15 hours or something. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'm doing my math correctly, but so I decided, I'm in so much pain. I should get an epidural. And after the epidural, the baby's heart rate spiked, right? Or dropped. What did it drop? Dropped. And we started getting concerned that we were putting the baby at risk. And so then at that point I questioned, should I have gotten the epidural, or, was it too early? I think maybe we could have waited.
He was coming through because when he was born, he had a nice elongated.
Yeah, I think he was already going through the birth canal. You said, Toni?
Well, he was low. He was getting ready to, but transition was hard. You were at that final stage, and so
yeah,
I think that transition was a little hard, and you had a really good nurse too, and so
yeah,
me and her both kind of noticed the decel and they turned you over, got you on hands and knees, and then they said you had gotten the epidural, and then the decels picked up, and so we got you on hands and knees, and the doctor came in and talked to you.
Yeah, at this point, it was kind of blurry to me. And I remember her being nervous, and she for some reason, didn't want to tell me what to do. But she said, well, the baby is at risk. We're afraid the baby is at risk. And I said, can we wait? I mean, I don't know. I didn't know what to do at that point. Right. And then, she didn't really tell me what to do, but she said, we waited a couple minutes and it looks like his heart rate was still dropping and not going back to normal. So they got nervous and they recommended like a C-section. And they don't really prepare you for it, the OB and things like that. I think you really have to do your research yourself. And, I think I wish I had more time with you, my doula, because I didn't decide to commit to you until I was like, 36 weeks. Yeah. That wasn't enough time. I mean, you should really start months earlier. The earlier, the better, of course. So you have more time to prepare. But I didn't give Toni enough time to prepare with me. I didn't have enough time to do the exercises that she would have recommended, all the training courses that Toni offers in her packages. Like, I didn't have time to do any of that. We did crash courses, but I feel like 36 weeks was not enough time for me to prepare for it. I think it would have been even worse if I didn't have a doula, if I didn't have Toni, so I really regret not committing earlier, not finding you earlier, So I thought, I got this pregnancy, it's fine. And it wasn't until I was 36 weeks pregnant when I could barely move, when I realized, I might be in trouble because this baby's getting really big. Then I started panicking, right? Which does no good. So when the baby got bigger, I started panicking, and Toni was right. I'm petite, and it got way more uncomfortable towards the end. It was much more difficult. So,
but something really good came out of it.
Yes. Yeah, so
we were able to get you something in particular. We were able to get you a Genesee.
Right. And the doctor, I don't think, knew about the Genesee. I don't think, I didn't know about it, of course. So they're a little you know, there are things, the knowledge that she has helped. I really think I was able to bond with baby, even though I had a C-section. I know a lot of moms are concerned with the bonding and things like that with the C-section. And when the baby came, I heard the baby cry, I couldn't see him. And, you know, it was really emotional when they were able to put him on me. And, you know, I cried, which I didn't think I would do, right? Because when you're in so much pain, you're thinking, oh my gosh, you're dying. But I was crying and staring at baby, not even, you know, thinking about pain or anything. Of course, I was on drugs, but I was able to bond with baby at the moment. And it was great. Yeah. It was like amazing, healthy baby. He was fully developed in every way. I mean, we don't know what could have happened if he was delivered earlier. I think we avoided a lot of potential issues. Toni really helped me guide through that and guide me through that. So thank you, Toni.
You're welcome. You did amazing. That was a lot to navigate while in labor, right?
Yeah.
It's not easy to focus out when you're like 8 centimeters dilated. It's like very close, but decisions have to be made. And you did the very best for your baby. So there's no regrets there.
We tried our best and we have a healthy baby. That's all we could, that's all I could ask.
How would you say your postpartum period has gone?
Postpartum has been difficult, but I think for any mother, regardless, right? But I think with the advice that you gave on what vitamins to take and just all the knowledge that I gained really helped. I didn't have postpartum depression. Healing was really hard, but you know, you gave me certain advice like what machine to buy, like the infrared machine and just things like that. You know, every time I felt like I was going through something, you stopped by the house and picked up the baby and showed me how to carry him. And, you know, I remember one time he had like acid reflux and gave me some tips on what to do and how to lay him down. And Robbie and I were going through such a difficult time. We weren't sleeping. We were just breastfeeding and we didn't know what to do. And you came by and helped us and gave us more confidence to stick with the process, right? To help the baby like develop good habits. That was really good. Telling us to buy like the cozy by the bedside so we could watch the baby. That the first a few weeks and months really helped. Like little tips like that really help. And when you're a new mom, it's easy to Google, but there's all this information. Mm-hmm. So having somebody there like Toni guide you and make you feel more confident about your decisions like really helps. Mm-hmm. You know, we probably avoided wasting a lot of money by buying all these products we probably didn't need. You know, Toni help us simplify that process. She has the knowledge. So, you know, just knowing that, okay, we're doing a good job, just, you know, really, really helps.
Well, that's good. Do you sleep now?
We sleep. Actually, this week I slept so much, I didn't wake up and I got mastitis. And I didn't wake up to feed because the baby slept like 4 days in a row over 6 hours or 8 hours. And I had mastitis and I thought I was coming down with a cold or flu. And I messaged Toni. I said, I thought I was coming down with a flu and cold. My body was aching. I was getting chills, but then felt tightening of the boobs. And I messaged Toni. I was like, is this mastitis? I don't know. And she came by the house and helped me, told me to hand express, told me what to do, and got through that. But it got really, really painful. It was scary because I didn't know if I was sick or if it was something that I needed to do. And she followed up with me every day, you know, to remind me I needed to hand express. And these things that I needed to do to help me.
And you're all better.
All better. It went away. Same day it went away. I took the bath and it went away. Had the baby. Take care of that. Mm-hmm. So just having to be patient too, right? Sometimes when you're in a rush, it's you have to be patient with your baby, and the process works. So yeah, if you stick to the process, it does work.
And you still get to sleep, and now you get up at least one more time a night and nurse.
Right.
And you
have to. You either pump or you breastfeed. You might as well breastfeed. It's much easier, I guess. So
you're good. And you're happy. I always see you smiling. Yeah. And how old is baby right now?
Baby's 2 months. So he's thriving. Gained a ton of weight when he was born. He was an ounce under 7 pounds, like 6 pounds and 15 ounces. And at 1 month, he was at almost 10 pounds. Mm-hmm. So it was small when he was born, but he quickly gained weight. Mm-hmm. So no issues with baby at all. Like Toni really helped. Even with postpartum, she follows up. And, maybe I wish I had signed up for like postpartum doula, but I think, again, I was too late to commit. And then at that point, the baby, I guess it's old enough. But I remember Ravi saying, wow, we thought, oh, wow, it's a lot of money. But then Ravi's like, we should have paid her more. Like, Toni deserves more money. So at the end of the day, we really got more than our money's worth. So there's no regrets at all. We want to take Toni out to dinner and cook for her to repay her.
And I love it. I absolutely enjoy you guys. I enjoy being around you. You are always full of energy. I'm like, yeah, they try to bring it down.
I know. Too much. I know. Hi. And then Toni relaxes me. So good balance.
That's good. Well, I'm very happy for you all. I'm excited to share this, your journey, because it's a journey.
It is. I appreciate your work. It is hard. They don't tell you how hard it is. And all these women around you are going through this, and nobody ever told me, so it's good to have an expert be there, everybody thinks they're an expert, and everybody can Google everything, but if you Google the wrong thing, it might not work for you. So we're happy that, Toni, you work, this worked for us. So.
Well, I'm not going to keep you because I know that the little one is awake.
Yeah.
And I just am excited. Like I said, I absolutely adore you guys. You did a great job. I remember watching you in labor, and you really just didn't want people to talk to you anymore. I was just like, hi. Yeah, answer their question.
I have a way of ignoring people too. It's kind of funny. These are important. I guess they were important questions.
I see where this is going. Oh my gosh. We didn't know what to do, but you did great. You did great. You went as far. And baby is perfect. We got a gentle seed. You didn't have any problems breastfeeding. You are still exclusively breastfeeding.
Yes, I am.
And like many, working moms.
Stick to it.
Yeah, it's a process.
Stick to it. There were days where, I wanted to hire that person to help at night, and you were like, don't you need to bond. And I'm like, okay. Or I wanted to quit breastfeeding and just buy formula. And you were like, you need to breastfeed. And it all worked out. You know, it was tough at the time. I wanted to quit, but you helped me through that. So
that sleep deprivation in the beginning is hard.
It's serious. It is serious, but it'll pass, because those weeks will go by and you look back and say, where did those weeks go? Yeah.
And to be honest, I've seen you enjoy it.
Yeah, I do. I do. It's tough, but you know, when you stare down at your baby, you know, you can't help but feel joy.
So I'm going to end here. I'm going to let you go back to everyone. Tell your fiance I say hello. I know he's probably out running.
All right. Well, don't work too hard, but continue being a badass.